Hello there, Carstairs here. I want to have a look at this Ward and Steele pistol. It's a late 18th, early 19th century flintlock pocket pistol, box lock construction. It's signed Ward and Steele. Some engraving on the other side, and this pistol has got a few problems. Firstly, the barrel is frozen on and it's been over tightened. That lug should be down there when the barrel is fully tightened. We don't seem to have any engagement there with the trigger, but if I pull the trigger forward, we've got half and full there, which tells me that either the trigger return spring is broken or missing. We've got a screw there that's not original, and then here we should have a safety slider for the safety there. That's missing. That looks like it might be original. This spring here for the holding for the frizzen, that may well be a problem. I have been soaking this pistol in penetrating oil. That might be a problem to get out. Other than that, we do have some, I've got a split there. Might try and put some glue into that just to stop it coming off in the future. Nice rosette engraving there. It's quite a nice pistol, this. The engraving is very nice, especially on this side. So that's all fine there. So I think what we need to do is get it open. Okay, that's tight, but it's coming. Okay, it's turning, but I don't think it's coming out. Right. Okay, that's an old screw, but it's got a machine thread on it, so completely the wrong screw. Now, this one looks like it might be a problem. Right, now. No. Right, that is not going to come out. What I'm going to do is grind the head off. Right, may well have to drill that out. So with the grip off, we can see what's going on now inside. Right. Spring is not what I expect. That's a replacement spring. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is just annoy this with some fire because I do not like my chances. Right, remarkably, it is turning. Good. Right. I think that's coming out. It's just turning. It's turning, but it's not coming out, which tells me the threads are stripped. Try punching it out. Yeah. Right, so that'll be, yeah, nothing left. Be another thing to make. Again, what I think I'll do is put some fire on it. That one's come. Oh, I've dropped. Jesus. Brilliant. This one, not so much. No. So again, I think what I'm going to have to do is grind that off. Okay. Right. That doesn't want to come out of there. Why not? That's it. And look at the notches. Good condition. Half there and full. That's all right. That's fine. A bit mucky under there, but yeah. This spring is not the original spring. For this kind of safety, this spring should have a slit in it to allow the safety mechanism to go through it and then hook under the end of the tail of the hammer there. So that's the wrong spring. Is this going to come out? Be helpful if it did. Try and get the trigger out. It's all right, a little bit worn, but it should be okay. Now there is a trigger return spring in there. Yeah, it's broken. Yeah, I thought so. It's broken. So I'm going to try and get the trigger guard off now. Oh, no bother with that one. Alright, it's a screw there as well. Now, this panel does come off and there's a screw there. Right. The one we're all dreading. Wow, even that's... No. This isn't the one we're dreading. The one we're dreading is that one. That's it. Right. No, no way. Never. Wow. Can't believe that. Well, I was prepared for a fight with this. Is it going to tighten up though? Isn't that that's the thing? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm very pleased with that, I have to say. So, we're about as stripped down as we can be, except for one more thing. The barrel. So, let's try and get it off. Very nice. Nice cup for the ball to sit in there. And we've not marked the barrel. So as you can see, it's pretty rusty there. See where the lip is? There's a lip. If you turn it back to where it should be, it's pretty much flush. So that's how it should be. Someone's over tightened the barrel, possibly trying to get it off, and they've over tightened it rather than tried to unscrew it. Threads are a bit shallow there. Could be a result of it being stretched, but it does still work. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess, you know, where the lug is. You know, once you get the ball in and you tighten it up, it'll be okay. So the final bit of disassembly is to get rid of the remnants of that screw. I'm going to drill it out. So I've got a 1mm PCB drill. These are incredibly hard, but they're brittle, but it should do the job. I don't want to go too big and mess this up, so we'll just go in with this 1mm to start with. Something bigger now. So I've got a 2mm, 2.5mm, I'm not sure, but okay, so we're through because we've got wood coming out. Let's see now if we can get it out. No, not interested. I'll just try again with these cutters. No. No, what's going on there? Right, that's why there was a machine screw in there, because it's threaded into that. Right, so that's going to have to be repaired. Split there, split there. Okay. Right, back to the drill. Let's go back to a carbide drill bit now and see if we can get this out. No, there's still remnants of it in there. Keep going. That's it. No, still got some in there. Still, very many of them. Just play them. So there is still a tiny sliver in there. There. Okay. So that should fill up quite nicely. Plug that with some wood, and then you have to plug that as well. So there we are, all the parts that we can reuse are there. There's a lot of work to do on this pistol. Gonna need to make a new spring, make a new safety slide, plug and fill and glue the grip, and make a new cross pin for the hammer, make new screws for the top of the lock, there and there. So the next thing to do is to boil the parts, not the grip obviously, boil all the metal parts and then give it a clean. I've taken the parts out of the boil and I've dried them off, and now we can get on with carding them. I'm going to be using this Dremel and soft brushes, this round one and this pointed one, to get into the nooks and crannies. In this video I'm going to get started by making the new screws. So I'm going to make a new screw for the hammer and 2 new screws for the top of the lock there. I'm going to have to retap this hole. 3.5 tap just about touches the edges, but it won't leave any realistically good threads. So I've got 4mm tap here. I'm going to use that. Okay, now we need to make the screw. Okay, let's see if we've got anywhere. Okay, very nice. Now I need to turn this bit down so it's the right size for that hole there. Right, so I need to put more threads on till this engages into its correct hole. So with this screw, I need to cut off the excess threads and then on each side file it flush with the side of the frame. Right, I think that's as far as I want to go. I'll be running it over some sandpaper to polish the end of it there and on the other side. Now on this side, what you can see is the slot is not going to be deep enough. I need to make that slot deeper so it sits inside the frame before I can start filing it down. So now I'm going to make a new screw for the top lock plate. I said originally I was going to make 2 new screws, but then I thought, why? I'm just making work for myself, and this screw's perfectly serviceable, so you know it's an original part, so might as well just keep it. But this side is Gonna need a new one. That's a 3mm bolt, and it just about goes in, but obviously the thread pitch is wrong. So I'm just going to run a 3mm tap down it, and then can shape the head of that cheese head screw to match the other one. Okay, so that goes in now. Now I can shape the head on this. Camera stopped recording for some reason there, so I don't know how much I've got, but this is where I'm at. I'm pretty pleased with both of them, like how they're sitting there. Size is good. I'm going to leave that one. I'm not going to polish it because that one's chewed up, so that one's going to match it. Okay, so it's quite a nice colour. And your eye's not drawn to it. You know, it's fine. Okay, it's very nice. So now I'm going to turn my attention to making a new trigger return spring, which sits on the back of the lock and engages there, and then engages with the flat of the trigger there to keep it pushed back all the time. Now, fortunately, we've got the old spring, so we can take measurements from that. And what I'm going to use is this screw, which is a 3mm screw, and the lug on there is a good match, about 3mm. So I've got this spring steel. I started making a spring for a powder flask and then abandoned it, but it's already trimmed close to where we need it to be. So what I'm going to do is drill and tap this for 3mm thread, screw this in part of the way, and then just put a weld on the back of it to hold it. Okay, that should be enough for our needs. So I've got a length of the spring steel now, and I've marked a line roughly halfway. It doesn't have to be bang on because we can file it on either side. So now I'm going to run a 3mm tap through it. Okay, so now just leave it like that and then put some weld in there. Okay, I'm going to call that good. It's not coming off. Okay, we're just a bit high there, so we need to just take some off the bottom. Okay, it's almost there. Just need to file a little bit more off. Okay, so I've got this now, and it does sit flush against the back of the lock, which is good. So now we need to be into bending it. So I've got it in these, clamped in these pliers now where I want to bend it. I'm going to use oxyacetylene to bend it exactly where I want it. So I'm at the stage now with this where it needs grinding back. But first what I'm going to do is thin out the length of the spring so it flexes on this part, not at the bend. So I'm at the grinder now, and I just need to grind the end of this down so that it will make contact with the flat of the trigger. I need to leave it a little bit longer because we do need to have, I need to put this in first and then the trigger. So don't need to take, in fact I'm not sure I need to take any off that. Might just leave that as it is. So pretty happy with the spring there, and now I'm going to temper it. So first we need it to heat it till it's glowing hot, and then quench it in some oil. You can use water. Just fish it out of the oil. Put it in some tin foil. So I've got this hot plate and it's set for about 350. So put the spring on it and leave it for half an hour. So it's been half an hour now. I'll just take that off and just let it cool down. I think it just wants the tiniest amount taking off. Okay, let's give it a try. No, still needs some more off. Okay, more. Right. What's happening there is the spring's too thick. It's catching on the body of the pistol. Right. What's happened there is I've not given this enough of a swoop. This spring is too low. It should be about there. So what I'm going to have to do is bend it and then retemper it. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that and retemper it. So I've retempered this. See what happens. And just try taking a tiny bit off. No, quite far away there. Take some more off. Just the tiniest bit more. Just an absolute sliver off. Just one more go. So when I'm grinding this, I'm literally just touching it on the grindstone, you know, less second or so, because I do not want to go too far. Right. Gone in, it's pretty tight. No, don't like that. Okay, that's good. I think I'm just going to thin out this spring a little bit more because I don't like where it's bending. I'm just going to get another sliver off. Right. I'm going to run with that. I think that might be all right. Now imagine my fingers a spring at the back. It's not going to stay in half because it's so worn there that it can't engage fully with the half notch. And the way to fix that is to weld a bit more onto there and sharpen it. But I don't think I'm gonna. But that's very nice. Yeah. Good. And I've got this bar of spring steel here. It's 9.5mm wide and 2mm thick. And if we have a look at the old spring that came out of it, this stuff is just exactly right for making springs for these guns. Get this on eBay. So what I've done is I've annealed it, which just means heating up so it's glowing hot so that I can work with it because this stuff comes hardened. And I've scored a line halfway along. I'm just going to drill 2 small holes and join them up with a diamond bit on a Dremel and then file the hole out so that it fits over the shoe there. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty good. Feels good. Yeah. Oh. So I've got my spring bent now. What I'm going to do is file the top of the spring to thin it out so it starts thicker there and then thins out towards the spoon so that it flexes across the spring rather than bending where it's been bent. So I'm at the grinder now and I'm going to start shaping this part here. Need to grind this down so that it's as thick as the width of the hammer there. So when I filed the spring, I obviously put a lot of marks that way, and really you don't want that in case one of them becomes a stress point and snaps the spring. So what I'm going to do is go over this with a finer file and then go lengthways with this flap wheel on a Dremel. This fine file is just to get the deeper marks out. So I'm going to temper the spring now, and the first part of that is to heat it up, it's glowing hot, and then quench it in some oil. You can use water, and then we can put it on a hot plate. I'm just going to fish it out of the oil. Into some tin foil. So I've got the hot plate set for about 350 now. I'm going to put the spring on and leave it for half an hour. So it's been half an hour now. Just take it off and leave it to cool down. Right. Spoon's far too forward, it should be back here. What I think I can do is heat this up and then bend it back. Now then, I can hold the spring, so I haven't put heat into the temper of the spring. So I've got it sort of back together now. I'm going to grind off a bit off there, and hopefully that will take us back. Right, that's about where I want to be. Into half there. That's very nice. This is a pistol which I'm going to work from and copy, and I can show you what's happening with it. This is the safety mechanism here. It consists of a piece there which is protruding through the lock plate, and then that goes through a slot in the spring, so that when you bring it into half cock, say you've loaded the pistol, you bring it into half cock, then you slide in the safety, and you then cannot put it into full. This one's also got the added fence round here which engages with the frizzen, so there's a pin there that goes into the frizzen and you can't open the frizzen, so it's a good way of avoiding spilling your powder when you've got the pistol loaded. So that is what we need to replicate. So we need to make that bit, put the slot in the spring, and then make a new spring which keeps the safety tight. So I'm going to cut the slot in the spring now on my puny mini mill. Right, so that looks pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. So I've put the pistol sort of back together now. I'm using modern screws as I don't want to be taking in and out those screws that I've made and mar them up, but it's in there now with the slot, and it seems to be working okay. So what I think I'll do now is, what will I do now? I'll tell you in the next segment. So where I'm going to start with this is by finding a screw for that hole there. I've got 2.5mm screw here, and it just won't go in. Now I've had a look in there with the loop there. There's no threads in there. It must have been stripped out. So I'm going to need to run a tap through it. So I've got a 2.5mm tap here. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to make the spring now for the safety. I've got the spring out of the other pistol, and just take some measurements. Thickest point there is 8.7, 8.3, so less than a mil throughout. I've got this thin spring steel here. This stuff is about a mil, so that'll be fine for that. I think the first thing to do is drill ourselves a hole, but first I'm going to have to anneal this, heat it up till it's glowing, and then let it cool down naturally so that it'll be soft enough to drill. So what I'm going to do now is temper this spring. So I'm going to heat it till it's glowing and then quench it in that oil. So now I'm going to fish it out and wrap it in this tin foil. So I'm going to put the spring on the hot plate now for half an hour. So it's been half an hour now, and I'll just take that off and leave it to cool naturally. So I've got the safety slide from the other pistol, and it's too long on the front there, it's hitting the hammer. Get it into half, let go in. Now, what we can see though is it's a good basis, a good guide for us. This bit's going to be too short to allow it to go into half. So yeah, I'm going to basically make a copy of this but obviously extend that bit, shorten that bit, and see what happens. So I've got a piece of metal that I'm going to use to make the safety slide. As you can see, there's a fair bit of metal to be removed, so probably do that on the mill. So I think material that we can remove straight away is along here and under here and just there. So I've got the piece in the puny mill now and start removing material. So I've got the safety slide super glued to a piece of wood here so I can drill a hole in it. I'm going to drill a 2mm hole in there. So I've got my spring now. So I've completed making all the parts for the safety now, and I'll just put it together. I've turned down the end of the screw to make that screw a bit smaller. Right, so I'll just talk a little bit about this mechanism. The spring here, I've had to do a bit of fiddling with this. I bent the spring wrong. The spring shouldn't bend there. It needs to bend from there, in that range there. So I've had to redo that, and obviously tweak the lugs on there. Now the pin that holds it needs to be that is a piece of drill bit, 2mm drill bit, and you need to get that right. The diameter, you don't necessarily need to use 2mm, but you need to know exactly what the size of that pin is, because then you need to drill exactly the right corresponding hole so that it's held tightly, not tightly by the spring, but by this part here, by the hook, so that it doesn't wobble. That's important. And then the way, you don't need a wedge. You don't need a wedge shaped pin, because you're not trying to wedge this together and hold it together. You want it obviously to be reasonably free moving, but what keeps that spring, what keeps that pin captured in there is the tension of the spring, which is adjusted by this screw. Now you really want that screw end to just be flush with the top of the lock, so you know that's not coming out. But as soon as I take the tension off the spring, drops out and it all falls apart. So just loosely put it in, and then then there's no tension on the spring, so you can just slot the pin in, then just tighten that up. It's a bit loose there. That's nice. Okay, so put it back in temporary now. Show you. Okay, so if I bring it into half and then engage the safety, I can't put it into full cock because the hook is blocking the hammer from going down any further. And take the safety off, get it into full. So that is how that works. So what I'm going to do now is just run the brush over this and try and take some of the colour off it, and hopefully it'll go back to an even darkish finish. Turn my attention now to the grip. It's got some pattern marking there, which I suspect it's been held in a vise at some point, but we've got split there, piece missing there, and that needs plugging. But first I'm going to clean it up just a bit. I'm going to use some very fine steel wool and some methylated spirits, and this will just get all the dirt off, but it will not damage the wood. See the dirt coming off already in my hand. See where I've missed a bit there. Give it another quick going over. Right, so now then that's a lot better. You can actually see the grain of the wood. So we'll let that dry and then we'll do some gluing. So it's been 24 hours now. Let's see how it's got on. Okay, that looks all right. Can start getting rid of that and cutting that down. So some of this is going to have to come off, why it didn't really matter whether it was glued there, because it's protruding into where the safety is going to be, but that's fine. See how that goes at the final fitting. So, well, that hasn't worked. That's rubbish. Right. What am I going to do about that? I might try using resin glue. That's annoying. So I'm going to redo this splitting the splits in the side of the grip. Just cleaning it out with a razor blade. So I'm going to mix up some glue here. A sheet of that. I'm going to use this araldite. I'm going to add some dye to it as well. Right, see how we get on with that. So let's see if I've made any progress with this. Yeah, that's glued, that's fine, that's good. So I'm just going to polish this a bit with this fine steel wool, just get rid of any remaining glue. Okay, barely see it on that side. You can see a bit on there, but yeah, it's not too bad at all. Come out very nicely. So now what I'm going to do is put some of this finishing wax on there. So it's been a couple of minutes now, let it dry. Just buff it off. Okay, looking good. I'm going to give it another couple more coats of the wax. So I'm just finishing buffing the third and final coat here. And that's really nice. I think it looks a lot better. So I'm ready to put the pistol back together now. if you remember, the screw that was in the top there was this machine screw, and it was screwed into this piece of metal which was holding the top part on. So I found another screw which suits. I found another one. This is an old screw from another pistol that didn't survive. So that sits quite nicely there, that's fine. So now I'm going to try and fit a flint. I'll try that one. So I hope you've enjoyed not only this video, but all the other videos in this series. If you did like them, please give this video a big thumbs up, consider subscribing, and links to buy me a coffee are in the description for this video. Thank you ever so much for watching.